This is one that blows me away like nobody's business. One of my all-time favorite bands, Pooh Sticks. We have Hue Williams from Pooh Sticks and Swansea Sound, the new band. This is amazing. How are you doing, Hugh?
I'm doing good, Tom. Yeah. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. This is a total thrill. I cannot tell you how much the Pooh Sticks meant to me. It was kind of the perfect band that was you obviously had a sense of humor, but you clearly loved just pop music so much, and there was no two ways about you were interested in the best stuff. And the band was like undistilled pop perfection.
I couldn't have put it better myself. Yeah. And yeah, you're too kind, Tom. You're too kind. But yeah, that sounds like a description of my old band. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now the new band, am I saying it correctly when I say Swansea Sound?
Swansea Sound, that does it. Yeah.
Okay. I'm American. I don't know. I can say Baltimore or Massachusetts, but I want to get Swansea. Like I went to London in July, and I have to say that the public address system on the trains is the most polite thing I've ever heard in my life.
Okay.
Now arriving, Streatham Station. And you're just like, well, this is the nicest ride. I'm not getting yelled at. I'm not crazy about that. See it, say it, sort it. That felt a little intimidating.
Yeah,
but
it does. To be honest, if you came to Wales, everything is in two languages because there's a Welsh language.
Mm-hmm.
So you would that might confuse you even more.
Okay. So just tell me. I'm going to ask a couple of Pooh Sticks questions, but I want to talk about Swansea Sound. What?
Yeah.
This has been. You've been. What brought you back to putting a group together?
Well, but I think the kind of modern cliche of the lockdown. So during the first COVID lockdown in the UK, I mean, I hadn't made any new music, Tom, since 1995. So it was Amelia, who was my co-singer, and back in singing the Pooh Sticks. Her husband, Rob Percy from Heavenly, he was threatening me with a song that he'd written for him and Amelia's current project, Catenary Wires, which didn't sound like a Catenary Wires song, and he thought it sort of sounded like the Pooh Sticks. So he emailed it to me during the lockdown, and I barked a vocal into my phone and sent the file to them, thinking that was it. I'd never hear anything again.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of worked. And then we made a whole album that way during the first lockdown. Yeah.
So there's. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, go on.
No. Oh.
So there was no call for it. It just kind of it happened because we were all bored or scared and hiding under our beds, and yeah, that's how it came about.
Sure. And
that was the first one.
And when you say Amelia, you're referring to Amelia Fletcher, who
yes,
a lot of people know from Heavenly as well.
Yes. So Amelia was fully implicated in the Pooh Sticks first time round, and she's on, I think, 3 of our albums and played live with us when we played in the States and other places. So, and yeah, I mean, I lost touch with Amelia for a while, and then I put the Pooh Sticks back together for some shows from like 2010 to 2015, and we played in the UK and we played in New York and Europe and stuff. So, but I'd never really intended to make new music. But as I said, but with Rob sending me this song, it kind of instigated something. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's amazing for someone who stepped away for as long as you did in terms of writing songs. It's like you did not lose a step at all. The Swansea Sound stuff is amazing. I started playing it on the show, and people really do like it and are excited. Everybody who knows the Pooh Sticks, it's an exciting thing that there's a whole new band waiting for them. So it's very thrilling.
Yeah, I think people are kind of thrilled that I'm still alive.
Well,
It's kind of,
yeah,
there's always that, isn't there? So
it's like I'm thrilled you're alive. But I'm thrilled you're doing more than be alive. You so there's this huge mystery with Pooh Sticks, trying to figure out. And then look, maybe you don't want to reveal anything. Maybe the curtain is closed for all eternity. The band. What was the impetus to start a band that was so poppy, but was kind of giving the business to the scene at the same time?
the thing is, I think now it's 35 years since the first Pooh Sticks single, which was a song called On Tape. It's really easy to pretend it was all some big master plan, whereas actually it was myself and a guy called Steve Gregory who had a label in Swansea, where we lived at the time, and actually where I live now. I moved back recently. It was we were into records and artifacts. It was a song. We wrote a song and we wanted to put the record out. That was it. We never thought that anyone would be interested or it would have such an impact. And quite quickly, the band became popular, and we wrote some other songs. And I think the stuff that you're referring to was 3 or 4 years into the group, when we got kind of bored of writing about the indie scene in the UK. We started mining our record collections and all the sort of pop stuff we like, particularly American bubblegum music and 70s music, which, to be honest, a lot of the critics over here just didn't understand.
Mm-hmm.
So when we first came to the States, we found like a whole bunch of kind of journalists and, I don't know, people like Bud Scopper and people like that who really liked us and wrote about us because they understood and thought it was great that these kind of younger guys, because we were younger than a lot of the journalists in the States,
Mm-hmm.
that we were kind of celebrating that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there was no master plan, Tom. It was all seat of the pants stuff.
Sure, but there was an overarching vision to where I liken it for people when I tell them about the Pooh Sticks. If the way it's almost like you did your own analog organic version of sampling, in a way where you were just straight up pulling the parts from the best songs and forming new songs out of them that were now also the best songs. Everything was a reference to the greatest stuff, and you were right there with it, making the stuff that was on the level to that stuff. I feel I loved.
Well, again, that's very kind. I remember we had lunch in New York with David Briggs at one point, Neil Young's producer, and we played him the record. And when it got to the Powderfinger solo, which we just replicated note for note, he literally fell off his chair and thought it was the greatest thing he'd ever heard. Because, at that point, a lot of sort of younger, like, independent bands would, do homages or sound like other groups, and we would think, well, why do something similar? We'll just play that. And obviously it was usually in the context of our songs.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we was it stealing? I don't think so. It's
sampling in its own way.
Yeah.
And making a new thing out of it. And it just, even with the titles used, just like taking like the John's Children had Orgasm as a record, you call a record Orgasm. You have Heroes and Villains. You have everything is from something else. And it's like, if you have the Great White Wonder, and it's like, if you can play the game, then you can hang with Tear the Top Off My Head. That's a unreleased Monkey song. You can hang, and it's just, you're being rewarded for knowing the good stuff, but it wasn't like, oh, it's just a gimmick. Those Pooh Sticks records, I'm telling you, they hold up like nobody's business. Yeah, it's just I'm a little speechless because the band means that much to me, and
Yeah, I mean, it was. You're right. It wasn't a gimmick. It ran deep with us, and a lot of the time, I think we were just trying to amuse ourselves and keep ourselves interested. And it's weird. I did quite a lot an in-depth interview with a guy called Michael Little for a blog called The Vinyl District, recently, and he knew more about the Pooh Sticks than I did. And I was remembering, I mean, all the stuff, the references you're saying then is true, but then there was a song like "The World Is Turning On," which is kind of influenced by a song with the same name by a guy called Bobby Bridger, an American sort of country singer that this Michael Little guy didn't know about. And the greatest song that was ever sung, which is from Million Seller, that was a song written by Terry Melcher for a band called Freeway, where we literally took the chorus but then wrote verses around it because we didn't think Terry's verses were very good. Sorry, Terry. So
you had your shot.
I forget
Terry.
this stuff myself.
Yeah, but at its best, it's the kind of thing it would make me laugh in a way because it's so it's like magic. You're basically doing a magic trick, and just the way when you see a magic trick done and you gasp or laugh with surprise, that's what your records would make me feel like, because it's just the purest thing. And so Swansea Sound, what is the you have a new record just came out last week?
It came out in the UK on Friday, and we played a show in London at the Rough Trade Shop in the East End of London, and it was hot. It was really. I mean, I know you're in California, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So it was like 33 degrees in London. So that's like in the 90s. That's hot for the UK.
Sure.
So that came out on Friday. It's called 20th Century. And yeah, it's we like it. We're off on tour this week we're playing shows across the next couple of months across the UK. We're playing in Paris next month, and we're playing in Japan in March, and hopefully we'll come to the States next year. So that would be that would be great.
Please let me know you're coming. I'd love to have you in the studio. We can figure something amazing out. And one other question is a thing. Your dad was in Rockpile?
Here we go. Yeah.
Final question. I'm not lingering on that. I'm just one of the all-time great drummers. Your dad's one of the all-time great drummers. Just wanted to say that.
Yeah. You know what? My dad, so this is the Pooh Sticks. I mean, the Pooh Sticks existed at a time where, obviously pre-internet initially, where there was a weekly music press over here, the Enemy, Melody Maker, all these things. You would do interviews all the time. You'd have to come up with stuff all the time. We never lied. Everything was based on truth, Tom.
Okay.
But Terry, bless him. Terry, he was in dire straits as well, Terry.
Okay.
He was in dire straits when they were the biggest group in the world.
Yeah.
He's not old enough to be my dad. He's called Terry Williams.
Well, look,
he's from Swansea. I used to babysit his children. So, yeah.
So I've been fooled for this long. For this long, I've been fooled. Look, I'll take it. I'll take it. I love it. I love being fooled. I love magic. That was magic. Final question. Who ran Fierce Panda?
Well, Fierce Panda actually was an Enemy journalist called Simon Williams. The Fierce Records was our label. Was the Pooh Sticks label? That was Steve Gregory. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Simon Williams ran Fierce Panda. He's the guy who bought me saying that Terry Williams was my dad. So that's a nice little connection there.
Sure. But because it's also one of the all-time funniest, like the Jesus and Mary chain record.
Yeah, sure.
It's the funniest stuff. It's the funniest stuff ever. You, sir, even if you don't know, you made stuff that means a lot to a lot more people than maybe you think it does. So I just want to thank you. It's such a thrill to have you in for a little bit. We'll have you in more when Swansea Sound comes over, and everybody check Swansea Sound out. The band, there's a band camp for the band. Check it out. You will not regret it. And Hugh, I appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you, sir.
Of course, sir. Well, thank you. I will talk to you soon. Thanks again.
Okay. Go well, okay. Tom.
Thanks. Take care.
And you.
Thank you. See, that was a real That was a real thrill for little Tom.